Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to her story. Let us continue. We are going through every single video in chronological order using the blank search trick, which is where you type in the word blank because every single video by default has blank in it. So if you have already played the game, you would have to delete your progress to get that to actually work. And if you delete your progress, then you can't use the cheat codes, which is a little bit of a bummer, but not a big deal. I think you probably are better off deleting your progress, doing the blank trick, and then getting past the credits to be able to use the cheat codes again. So we have 117 entries left. We are going through this interview that happened on 01, the first day of the 7th month of 1994. We assume 1994. Probably was in 1894. And there's 4 videos to this point where she spills coffee on herself. And then the interview continues, but she's wearing this blue shirt instead of this longer blue sleeve shirt, and we can see her tattoo. Some suspect she spilled coffee on herself to show off her tattoo. Let's see.
Black, no sugar. Thanks.
So, pretty much it seems, as we go through here, that anytime we're talking to Eve, she wants the coffee black. Anytime we're talking to Hannah, she wants tea or she wants sugar of some sort.
Okay.
And usually Eve is wearing a necklace.
It was busy, so I parked down the end of the road. I walked up to the house, I knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag, unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. I could tell because the key wouldn't turn when I tried to turn it to the left. I walked in, Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes on the shoe rack. I shouted out for him. I walked straight into the kitchen. He usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. He wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly into the living room. Nothing. I walked upstairs to the bedroom. He wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. Then I had a shower. Whilst I was in the shower, the phone rang. I think it was Eric, his boss. I didn't answer it. Then I came out and I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, but I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. I spoke to him. Then I called Simon's parents. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
So she tells this story almost 100% word for word as it was said before. Now this is, in my belief, Eve that's telling the story, so she's lying. But I think when Hannah told the story, she was lying too. I don't think either one of those actually happened. But I think something similar to that may have happened. The truth may be slightly close to that, but I don't think a lot of that seems very, very rehearsed. In fact, that seems like the most rehearsed testimony of all the testimonies, because they seem to practice it.
I speak with Eleanor at least once a day. Not that there's anything much to say. It's more just...
So, even when she starts here on this whole level of this interview, she's already a little bit more aggressive, a little bit tired of being called in. This is several days in a row she's been called in and interviewed.
No, I'm okay. Fuck.
So she doesn't say anything there. What would have been nice is if she had said like shirt there and asked for a new shirt.
Oh, my tattoo. I got it to express my individuality. It's an apple and a snake.
So that only makes sense if that's Eve talking. Unless, of course, that was Hannah that got the tattoo to match Eve, which then would be not really expressing your individuality. I assume she wasn't wearing this shirt under it, but we're not seeing a necklace on either one. But even this original shirt she was wearing didn't really seem like she would be wearing a necklace. So we move on with the interview wearing this shirt, seeing the tattoo in almost every video, I think.
About 8 years back. It was a present to myself. I shouldn't even be drinking coffee with the baby. It's been hard trying to give it up. I think they say you can have 1 cup.
See, she takes on a totally different personality now, and it's kind of strange. It is pretty strange, the shift that goes on in her attitude and personality. Even when she changed shirts, she seemed to change personality. I don't know why. Unless you really were going to make the argument she had split personalities, and the split in her personality was that every time she changed clothing, she changed to a different personality. And so she's wearing a more sporty, laid-back shirt. This, she's more sporty and laid-back, and that just seems like crazy talk.
Do you have children?
So what's interesting there is she's asking him if he has children. She's already asked that question, but it was Hannah that time, and that didn't get passed back in between their diaries.
Cute. You must love them very much. What ages are they? Must think it's very cool that their dad is a police detective.
So this conversation actually means more than you would really think.
Yeah. We were 17. It was a nice wedding, people said. Simon looked very handsome in the photos. His parents paid for everything, but he's an only child, so it was important to them. It was what they called a shotgun wedding, but if you looked at the photos, you couldn't tell. The dress was beautiful. It looked like Princess Diana's. The train wasn't quite as long, though. There's a great photo of the bridesmaid helping to carry it out of the car.
So what also is interesting here is when you look at her hair, it's a good 2 or 3 inches longer in like 15 days from what it started off with, as far as the very first interview. And it seems like it's slightly thicker because it's parted on both sides, whereas we've seen before it was all on one side. But I'm pretty sure almost all the interviews we've seen up to this, only 2 of those interviews were actually Hannah, and it seems more like Eve just changes her hair every now and then, perhaps just trying to create more and more story here, which is what just keeps on happening. The story gets deeper and deeper, and they add more detail and more detail.
Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first. That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit, but he was sexy. We were 15.
So a totally different attitude about sex now?
No, I was 15. Carl was older, 17, I think. I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once. It's stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad, but those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family.
So again, that last video she says we are 15, talking about the twins, not Carl and her. She says we all the time. Seemingly just blatantly trying to expose herself as having a twin. So yeah, I could definitely see people thinking they would just make up, she's making up the whole twin story and all that, but it just doesn't, you don't ever get a motive, you don't ever get a reason why she killed Simon if that's the case. It's, if you really believe she has just multiple personalities, then you have to totally ignore the bruise, totally ignore the different hairstyles, totally ignore the different drink orders, totally ignore the necklace not being worn sometimes, you totally ignore the different attitudes, and totally ignore the lack of motive. And you're ignoring so much.
Family. So, Carl fucked off. And then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon.
Is that blue shirt, is the symbol on the blue shirt the symbol right here? Southeast Constabulary? If I could get a good look at it, that'd be great. Just hide the word database right here.
And the Glaziers.
No, that
I
looks
worked
like
there
a
some
soccer
weekends
ball.
and Simon had a part-time job there too. That was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other
Or
people's
football,
children.
as the UK people call
Simon
it.
was quiet.
And I
more
agree
thoughtful
with
than
him.
the other boys.
I think the game that you,
Even
where
then,
you
he
can
had a
kick
sense
the
of
ball
craftsmanship.
should be called football.
Wasn't
And the
always
game
rushing
where you can
stuff.
pick up the ball and hold it with your hand.
Boys that age are just
Shouldn't
running
be
around
called
like headless
football.
chickens most of the time. Yeah. Plus he had that look. He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books. I wouldn't say that. It could be passionate. It's just, it was more than that. It wasn't just sex like I had been with the other boys.
See, and I don't think I'd be able to see if she's wearing the necklace here. That's just not a, that's just a t-shirt, so it'd be close to impossible to see if she was wearing a necklace under it. And it seems pretty obvious there's not a necklace over it.
Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday.
So, that's probably a good clue that it was the same person yesterday too, but it doesn't really matter because from what I could figure, there was only 2 interviews in which he actually talked to Hannah.
Simon was very moral about that sort of thing. He wouldn't just walk out there and sleep with anyone. He wasn't that kind of guy. He took his marriage very seriously.
It's kind of a lie. Unless Simon was just
Simon never
very
cheated on me.
confused.
He was devoted to me. and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good to each other. Life isn't a fairy tale. You do what you can.
It's kind of a lie. Simon did cheat on her. In at least some ways. And at least pretended to cheat on her.
You're reaching here. And I don't know why. No, I've never cheated on anyone. I've never taken anything from anyone. Simon's dead. But I have my baby to care for.
I think I did see her necklace right there. Just
Why
really
are you trying to make me sad?
quick flash there.
Why are you so obsessed
Right
with
there.
sex and affairs? You cheated on your wife. Is this your thing?
So we know the interviewer says he cheated on his wife.
What did your wife do? She didn't kill you. You think I killed Simon because he was having an affair? Well, I didn't kill him. I wasn't even there. I was in Glasgow worrying about whether my baby was still growing inside me. I mean, why would I kill Simon? I loved him.
See, it kind of looks like there was a flash there, too. I halfway think maybe the necklace was a gift from Simon to Eve.
This
Yeah,
other
that,
person
right there, I
doesn't
totally
exist.
see it.
I don't know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. Have you looked at the cat flap? I mean, what if they were crazy? You hear about these crazy people all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
why
just
would anyone
barely
who
seeing
knew
reflections
Simon
of
want
the
to kill
necklace.
him?
There. And that's kind of the more important thing we're seeing here than
No.
what she's saying.
I've had enough coffee for today, thanks. Glass of water.
We need to kind of hurry up because this is the interview that I believe ends in a guitar.
Is that camera recording?
Maybe I don't really need to hurry up that much. Again, she's asking
You've
if
been framed. I want the money.
Asking if the camera was recording again. Second time she's asked that.
Yeah, that's me. But February, I mean, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
So what are they trying to get at the speeding ticket?
Well, I don't know. I probably had to pop out and get something, that's why I was speeding. And that wouldn't have been noted on my timesheet. But I really can't remember back to February.
Ah! So here is the importance of that there. One of them is working at their job while the other is driving around getting a speeding ticket.
I remember the ticket, of course. I paid it without telling Simon. Didn't want to get told off. And they put points on the licence.
So again, there's some solid evidence right there. How do you refute that piece of evidence? That they have a photo of her speeding and a timesheet that says she was working.
Like I said, I think I was popping out to get something, ran out of something, had to grab something. I sometimes drive too fast. If you want, you can arrest me for that.
Wow, this is actually the most damning evidence that there are twins of all of them. You can't really argue with that
You must
very
be desperate for leads if you're getting hung up over 6-month-old speeding tickets.
I mean, you have to believe there's twins at this rate. Let's see how well we are doing to get to the end of the videos. We're doing pretty well.
There was a conference, something to do with double glazing, in Oxford.
So,
are you sure?
He
what
was,
would he be doing in Oxford if there was no conference?
He was going to Oxford to cheat.
I remember calling him. He said it was boring and he spent most of the time at the bar.
And assumedly he's cheating with Eve, but he may have been cheating with other girls too.
And the hotel said he was there?
I mean, this is just straight up evidence he was cheating on Hannah with somebody.
Okay, you got me. I'll confess. We were there. It was a dirty weekend. Simon was going to expense it, pretend it was a business trip. I used a made-up name. We stayed at the hotel, had room service, didn't leave the room, had a great view of the river, and you could hear the church bells. Like you said, it was very romantic.
See, more evidence that that was Eve that Simon was cheating with, and that is Eve that is talking right now.
It was supposed to be a secret. Just because Simon is dead, it doesn't mean I have to give up all his secrets. It doesn't have anything to do with what happened to Simon. No one murdered my husband because he cheated his expenses for a romantic weekend in Oxford.
It actually does have a lot to do with that, doesn't it? When all is said and done. This will be interesting whether we're going to end on this musical section. I guess we are. So, we're going to just get to listen to the music, and then that's going to be the end of this recording.
You want me to play something? I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay? Probably needs tuning. No. It's okay. How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street. Sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. See, they both had a love for the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain, but he only cared for the youngest one. Oh, the dreadful wind. Oh, the eldest envied her sister fair. Oh, the wind and the rain, with a pretty little face and her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. She pushed her in and held her down. Oh, the wind and the rain watched her as she slowly drowned. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. Oh, the wind and the rain floated till a ship came by. Oh, the dreadful wind. So I think that's a good place to stop.
So, they do this twice in the Rapunzel section and here. It's straight up just a recapping of some of the stories we've seen. Now the only difference here is that instead of Hannah saying that she almost drowned Eve, now it is Eve saying that Hannah actually did drown Eve. And I suppose if you wanted to try to still hold on to the split personalities thing after there was a twin and like it became a split personality thing, you might believe that if this was one of those videos that you saw and you didn't see all the other videos. But man, boy, does that speeding ticket and timesheet not agree with that at all. So here we're gonna go to the next song and see what she's confessing to in that song.
Really? Okay. Here's the rest. Oh, they laid a body on the dock to dry. Oh, the wind and the rain, till a fiddler with a fiddle came walking by. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle bow of her long hair. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made fiddle pegs of her finger bows. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made fiddle pegs from her finger bones. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. Oh, the wind and rain. The sound could pierce her heart of stone. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. But the only tune that the fiddle could play was oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, the only tune that the fiddle could play was oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Anything you sing may be used as evidence against you.
So in that one, it doesn't seem like any part of that song really is a confession. So it kind of makes sense why they'd break it up there, so you didn't sit there and think that the whole song had more details in it. They really broke it up. That first section is almost a straight up confession. The second section seems to just be an actual song, and I wonder if that is an actual song or if they made it up for the game.
Sam and Eric arguing? No, I can't imagine they'd be arguing. And they get on so well. Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
So there's a question that doesn't seem like it really would solve or answer anything. That seems like a pointless question. Would Sam and Eric be arguing? So we've got 79 more videos. We have this black shirt interview that goes, I think, to about right here, and then there's a white shirt interview at the end that will do it. And it wouldn't surprise me if in the next recording we actually managed to get all of them done, like all 79. We've done almost 200 even videos up to this point, so yeah, we probably could power through in at least at the latest 2 more recordings. It's a lot quicker using the blank trick. Definitely is a lot quicker, but I have to tell you, I am not getting a super grasp of the story. If I had just done this and then decided that I decided what had happened, I would have definitely probably been very confused and not really known. Also, surprisingly, the chit chat video thing has not played. So I don't know if it's going to kick up as soon as we've seen one of each interview days, or if it kicks up after a specific video playing. Something is holding it back, because right now the game says we have not seen enough to make a decision, and that is an irritating thought, because that means at the point when it did give us the chit chat app, we probably had seen enough to make the right decision, and I just missed a lot of clues. And I did miss a lot of clues. I've seen several things here that only add to and reinforce my belief of what happened. Anywho, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps me out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.